This is the 42nd episode of the Runnin My Mouth podcast. I am your pained host, Aaron, and allow me to run my mouth for a little bit. I'm going to say right off the top, if I'm talking weird or if I'm lisping or anything like that, my wisdom tooth on this side, the bottom one, started hurting real bad last week. And I took some Advil before I sat down to record. And I will say, it feels not as bad as it did last Thursday or Friday, but it still hurts quite a bit. And I have, I should have an appointment with a dentist pretty soon because realistically, they should have been out years ago. But at the point where it was recommended that I get them out, I was not in charge of my own medical decisions at the time. Now that I am, it's okay, I have to do this. And also considering, I'm turning 26 this year, I gotta do it real soon. And I have dental insurance provided through my employer, but I'd rather not be on me, to be completely honest, especially if I have to get 2 friggin' teeth extracted. So, it's not even really the pain of the tooth coming through, because that's what's happening. It's the pain because my two top, we're getting into medical talk, but just bear with me. But my 2 top wisdom teeth have pretty much fully descended because when I was in the process of getting braces when I was younger, I had 2 of my top molars taken out. Perfectly good teeth, by the way. They just yanked them out, presumably to make space for these wisdom teeth coming in. Why they didn't do that on the bottom, I don't know. I'm kind of glad they didn't, because having 2 perfectly good teeth taken out when you're wide awake is probably one of the worst things that have happened to me. Legitimately, it was nightmarish. And I used to get these things called chalazions on my eyelids. And the first time I got one, and it needed medical intervention, they put me under because I was young. But the second time, I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I was older, and it was on this eye, and that was also pretty terrible. They shined this bright, bright light in my eyes. My eyes were closed, but the light was still really bright. If you're outside and it's really sunny out and you close your eyes and you can still see the light in your eyes, that was basically it. And I don't know how long it lasted, but it felt like it lasted forever. And also I was crying the entire time because it was just the worst. And also, having someone root around in your mouth trying to yank 2 perfectly good teeth out, even though it was numbed, I still felt it. It didn't hurt, but I still felt everything. So that wasn't great. That had to happen when I was maybe in middle school. So that was a while ago. But, major dental surgery is definitely in my future. So I just gonna have to prepare for that. But it's just, it's not the tooth coming in, it's the fact that I am quite literally chomping down on my own gums, because the top ones are fully descended, but the bottom ones are only kind of halfway descended or ascended because they're coming up, I guess. So there's still some gum back there, and it used to be way worse on this side, to the point where it really did affect the way my mouth posture and how I talked. That has chilled out for the most part for now. But now this side is bothering me, and it's okay, I have to deal with this. And the crazy part about it is that this has been happening for well over a year. So it's crazy that I put up with it for so long. But like I said, I had braces for a while when I was a kid. Before I even got braces, I had to get this thing called a rapid palate expander. And there's this thing that they put on my top jaw, and my mom had to use this little tool to crank it every night, and it was basically stretching my top jaw out. So it was basically a medieval torture device, basically. And as you could imagine, that did not feel great. I was in a great deal of discomfort from that. And then I finally got that out. Then I had to get braces, and I got braces on my top row first. And I mean, if you've ever had braces, then you know that it sucks. Just the amount of pain that you're in just constantly. And even after the pain has subsided, you're basically in a constant state of discomfort. And I got used to that really quick because, I had that top row for a while. And then I didn't get the top row taken off. They took the wires out and then they added brackets to the bottom row. So I had braces on my top and bottom row of teeth. And, having it on both sets, or I guess rows of teeth at the same time also sucks. So, you just kind of get used to being in high amounts of pain or discomfort for like a really long time, and you kind of don't really second guess it. And then, now things are happening on the inside of my mouth, and it's like, oh, well, it's just like things used to be. But also, they don't have to be like that. So I'm finally going to see a dentist, and, it's probably going to cost a not insignificant amount of money and also take up like a decent amount of my PTO at work. But they just gotta come out. And I don't know if the top ones are gonna have to come out, but the bottom ones are definitely gonna have to come out. And for the most part, I don't think they're like impacted or anything like that. Like when I wake up in the morning, I can feel that things have like shifted in my mouth, which is crazy. Pretty much feels exactly like, getting your braces tightened. If you know what that feeling is like, that's not a feeling that a lot of people know about because not everyone had a 5 millimeter overbite as a child, which to me, I'm not even gonna lie, I don't think my teeth were that bad when I was a kid. Like, I didn't have any overcrowding or anything like that. My teeth weren't overlapping or anything. I just had like a slight overbite. Like I said, 5 millimeters, which, okay, 5 millimeters might have been a lot. But the way that my orthodontist explained it to me and my mom at the time was that, oh, if you fall on your face, you're gonna break your teeth before you break your nose. And it's like, but I'm still gonna break my nose and my teeth. So it's like, I don't know. That was a very costly experience for my parents. And then I just didn't bother wearing my retainer when I went to college because I was like, I didn't even bring them with me when I went to college. I was like, I'm done with this. I don't want to have to deal with this anymore. Also, I have a permanent retainer on my bottom row of teeth. So that is also just like there for the rest of my life, I guess. Just a big thing of metal, just like chilling down there. And again, you just get used to things not being quite right in your mouth. Like the inside of my mouth has not known peace since 2009, and I'm not even joking. Like that, I think, is the year that I got my RPE in. Everything after that is just constant like discontent within my maw, you know? So it's just that's what I'm dealing with right now. And as such, talking is somewhat unpleasant, but I'm here to do the pod anyways. Like I said, I'm kind of used to it by now. But all that said, I have a lot of good things to talk about today. I have been holding on to this one until it was officially announced, but now I can officially say that I, as Jackson Underground, am going to be at Couchfest for April 19th, 2025. That is a Saturday, and I will be there with my writings and some other things that I have planned, and I'm very excited, but I'm also very nervous because I've never done anything like this before. I've never even been to a music festival before, so this will be my first experience with that. And I mean, this isn't like a major music festival or anything like that. It is a mostly sort of all-day event. But it's a lot. It's kind of intense. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm nervous, and also, I mean, it's February, but it's also like the end of February, and I have like nothing that I need. I don't have a table. I don't have a tent. I don't have any. Well, okay. I mean, I have my articles that I'm gonna print out and bring, but I don't have any of the tangibles that I need to actually bring with me there. So I will be collecting all of those things over the next few weeks, and I'm hoping I can get some good deals on some stuff. I've already sourced a table and a tent, so I won't have to purchase either of those things, although I have wanted a folding table for some time. So I might just end up buying one anyways. But also, I'm trying not to accumulate things in my house, considering that I am trying to move in June. And adding a folding table. I mean, realistically, the folding, you can fold it up. That's the whole point of a folding table. You can fold it up. Um, so I don't know. Maybe I'll just end up buying one anyways, but I do know that I have access to a folding table and a tent, which were the two big things that I was worried about. Because why would I buy like a canopy tent, you know? I mean, never say never. There might be things that I'm doing in the future, but like, I don't want one. Really, that's what it comes down to. I just don't want one for myself. Which, I mean, that's fine. Um, so I have some people that I'm gonna borrow these things from, but I am very excited about this, and also I shall tell you the lineup for the event because although yours truly is going to be there, there's also going to be some other people that are there. And like I said, this is a music festival, so let's go with the music lineup. At the top, we have Surfwax, Smokies, Joy Bomb, which I'm trying to remember where they're from. I have heard of them, but I don't think they're from Jackson. They might be from Mississippi. I can look this up, but I'm not gonna. The Public, who is from St. Louis, who toured with Surfwax last year, and they're a very good band. Defluo Cervus, who I had the pleasure of seeing for the first time last night, which I will get to in a bit. Headcanon from Jackson, Holy Vision also from Jackson. Oh Dang is the name of the band. I'm not just saying oh dang. I feel like I've heard of them, but I'm not entirely sure where they're from. Weak Hearts from Jackson. Autumn Porch, which is a very new band. They're also going to be there. And Goodwin Rainier, which is, I believe this is a solo artist. And then for the artists slash writers that are going to be there, you have Apex Illustrations, which is an artist, Argus Burton, who is a writer, Ash Hemphill, which I've heard the name before, but I'm not quite sure what they do, Devin McCann, who does crafts, like objects, things, crafts, visual art that you can hold. Guillermo Salinas, who I have seen doing other things, but is also a visual artist. Isaac De La Cruz, a name that I'm not familiar with. Jonathan Faulkner, another name that I'm not familiar with. Jordan Hankison, who is a visual artist here in Jackson. Justin Ransberg, who is an artist and a writer, and I believe he does comics as well. Jackson Comics, which is, I don't know if this is a comic store or if this is just like a collective, but I have heard of them as well. There's me, Jackson Underground. Latrice Lawson, a name that I'm not familiar with, and S&Z Arts, which is a name that I have heard, and they are an artist. So that's gonna be that. Tickets have not gone on sale yet, but trust that when they do, I will be annoying about it. So, get ready for that. The set times haven't been listed yet, but I believe the artist and writers area will go from, I want to say 1 to like 4 in the afternoon. I can't really remember. But when all of that comes out, I will, of course, tell you all. Gosh, I don't know what to say. I was really looking forward to going to Couchfest this year just as a member of the public. I was looking forward to that because last year, I can't remember what I was doing last year, but I think I was like out of town. So it was in April. I can try to see on my calendar what I was doing last April. No, was it last April? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I didn't put it on my calendar, but I thought I was like out of town. Oh, okay, it was last May. And that was when I did my little 3-day weekend, taking the train to New Orleans. That's what I was doing. So I was out of town. So I was like, oh man, I can't believe I missed it this year. There are a lot of bands that I really like that were playing last year. So I kind of regretted that. But now I'm going to be there not as a member of the public, but as an exhibitor, which is really exciting. And I was so surprised when I was reached out to about being at Couchfest. I had to think about it. I had to think about it, but it wasn't like, oh, do I want to do this or not? I had to think about it in the terms that, I don't know, I just had to like consider everything that would kind of go into it. And of course, I was going to say yes, because I mean, oh my God, and it's like, you know, this is something that I'm pretty sure I've said it before on the pod, but it's something that I think about a lot. And I do kind of want to save this for the end because I had something else to talk about that was sort of relevant to it. But anytime people come up to me and they like recognize me because of, either this podcast or what I do with Jackson Underground, it's like always so surprising because, I have, and not to get emo on the pod, but cringe culture is dead and I can do what I want. I have for a very long time felt, and I don't know if this has ever actually been the case, but this has been how I feel, but I have felt like I have been someone who's just kind of invisible. Just like people don't, like, I can move through this world unimpeded because, I am just, I don't know, people just don't, I don't know how to really explain it. Like, I'm not someone, I've never felt very visible to people. Um, and this is something that I've brought up to people before, but I'll never forget it. I was at work one day and I think like, there was some big department meeting going on, like in the news department or something like that. There's either some big meeting or something was like overlapping, and a bunch of people were like out of the newsroom. And it was me, one of our reporters, and one of our digital people that were in there. And, it's pretty interesting because the newsroom is usually not that empty, for there to be literally 3 people in there. Usually it's more than that, especially during the day on a weekday. And so, eventually everyone comes back to the newsroom, all of the like producers and some of the other reporters and, some of the management people and stuff. And the one reporter that I was sitting, in the room with, and it's not like I was like off in like a nook or a cranny or something like that. I am like smack dab in the middle of our newsroom. Like our desks are within eyeshot of one another. It was pretty obvious that I was there, all that to say. And it's like, people started coming back, and then the one reporter says to somebody, like, oh, it was just me and so in here. It was so strange. And I'm like, brother, did you not literally just see me sitting behind you? Like, what the heck? And I didn't say anything because I didn't really feel like that warranted anything being said. But it's like, do people just straight up not see me? Like, dang, that was crazy. It was kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. And clearly it stuck with me because here I am sitting here talking about it all this time later. But it's like, I am not someone who gets, I don't want to say gets recognition, but I feel invisible a lot of the time. And, being reached out to, I'm not gonna cry. I swear I'm not. Being reached out to, I actually might. I'm not gonna, but being reached out to do something like this makes me feel seen, And even just being at the show last night, I had a couple people come up to me. One person said, I love what you're doing, keep it up. Another person was like, oh, you're Jackson Underground, and gave me a fist bump. And it's like, these are very new feelings for me. And it's like, this is good, but also at the same time, it's like, I really am just like straight up invisible to some people. And that's just kind of life. I have kind of accepted it, but being confronted with it in a very direct way, like I was in the newsroom that day, it was definitely weird. I didn't feel hurt over it. It was just weird. It was just straight up weird. Cause like me and the reporter made eye contact. So I didn't even like, I don't know if it was just like he forgot my name or like whatever, but which is crazy because I had been working there for like a year by that point. So it's like, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. You don't know my name. I've literally been sitting across from you for, 365 days, just about. Obviously, I'm not there at work every day, but still, and it takes me a while to learn people's names, but I feel like by month 4, I figured out everybody's name that I work with. So it was just weird. But all that to say, being recognized in this way for my writing and the things that I do here, it means a lot. I'll say that. It means a lot. And I'm very happy that I will be at Couch Fest this year because oh my god, that's so crazy. So yeah, that's that. I have my lit. I had my list. I just fumbled it out of my hands. Oh my goodness. How could I forget? So, last episode I was talking about my upcoming show that was going to be on Valentine's Day. My Valentine's Day show happened, and let me tell you, it went really well. I was so nervous about this goddamn Valentine's Day show that I was like, my tummy was in knots. Let me just tell you that much, driving on the way. And I was like, I just wanted people to show up because, not only was it kind of a hard sell, being that it was a show on Valentine's Day, and yeah, well, I mean, clearly that didn't really matter, honestly, that it was Valentine's Day. So never mind. My fears about it being Valentine's Day were unfounded. So, that ended up being fine. Thankfully, we had a decent turnout. And this is my show with, not me forgetting already. Beneath the Kudzu, who is from Vicksburg. They put on, they're a sledge band. They put on a really good set. Die with Nature, who is from here in Jackson. They always do a great job. And then we had our out-of-towners, Insomniac, which is from Atlanta. I had not seen them before. And their setup is kind of intense because they have, I don't know what these are exactly, other than just like speakers, but they had 6 big, I want to say they were like 5.5 feet tall. They were either as tall as I was, which I'm not 5.5 feet tall, but they were either as tall as I was or like a little bit taller. So they were big to me. But they were these big, hold on. Sun O speakers. I'm pretty sure, I think I really don't know what to call them. They're like these big tower speakers. I'm trying to find a picture of them. I think this might be it, but also I don't think so. But they're these big, huge, gigantic Sun O, like, tower. Maybe they were amps. Maybe they were just cabs. Here it is. They're columns. They're column cabinets. And fine. Here. This isn't gonna look great because, here it is. We're focusing. They had 6 of these, right? And so I was looking at that and I was like, how freaking loud is this about to be? Like, am I about to die? It didn't end up being that loud, though. But to have 6 of those big old speakers, I was like, they're about to trip a breaker. I was legitimately worried about them tripping a breaker, though, because that has happened at the Sunflower Oven before. Thankfully, no breakers were tripped, because if that would have happened in the middle of, like, their set, I probably would have crashed out. I'm not even gonna lie. I wasn't even the person freaking performing, but I just want my shows to go smoothly. Sue me, I guess. And so they, as far as I know, they don't have, I couldn't find any because I wanted to look it up afterwards, but they don't have any recordings available, but they're really great. I guess there's something of a super group, I think, because when I went to look them up prior to the show, on their website, they had like, members from such and such bands. And like, I'm not really plugged into the Atlanta doom scene, perhaps as much as I'd like to be, but it sounded like it was a big deal. So I'm assuming this is a super group of some sort. And after their tour, which their second to last stop. Their next one was in Birmingham. And by the way, it like stormed the next day, which is crazy. I don't think it stormed as far north as Birmingham, but that was a lot. But after their tour, they got signed to a label, which is great for them. And then, of course, Dead Register, which I already love Dead Register, so I was already gonna love what they were doing, and I of course love what they were doing. I totally forgot though. I of course remembered that they have a keyboardist that has pedals on the keyboard, but what I didn't remember is that the drummer has a saw blade. Like, as I don't think I didn't see him actually play the saw blade, but it was like I mean, I don't, maybe it was decorative. I don't know. But there is a saw blade on the drum kit, like a cymbal would be. And I thought that was cool. And I totally forgot about it from last time. So, and also, oh my goodness. So, I almost forgot about that, but forgot about what I'm about to talk about, but my brain will not let me forget. So, I walk into the sunflower oven and I'm, paying my cover or whatever. And I hope I'm going to say his name right, but Shavasta from Dead Register, he's the guitarist slash bassist because he plays bass on the guitar, and vocalist. He comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, didn't I meet you last time at the sunflower oven?" And I was like, "No, I don't think so." And he looked at me like I was freaking insane because, yes, we did meet. I did not recognize him at the time immediately, but I thought about it because I was like, why is he looking at me like that? And I put two and two together. I was like, oh, that's him. So I rectified my mistake. I was like, hey, aren't you in Dead Register? And he's like, yes. And I was like, we did meet last time. So, yeah, that happened. Not my best or brightest moment, but, things happen. I don't know what else to say. It's just things happen, I guess. All that aside, the show went really well. My Valentines were a hit. People loved them, and I'm glad. And I was able to give away all of them. Thankfully, I made 45, not 48, like I said in the last episode. I can't do math. This has become apparent. But they were a huge hit. People thought they were cute, and they enjoyed the candy. And I appreciated that because I did not want to take a single one of those things home with me. But thankfully, I was able to get rid of all of them, and I got to keep my shoebox because I need it because there are shoes that are in the shoebox that need to be in the shoebox. So I didn't really want to get rid of the shoebox because then the shoes wouldn't have anywhere to be. That was my main concern, was making sure I brought the shoebox home empty. Most importantly, this pillow isn't doing what I needed to do behind me. I don't know why. I keep adjusting it, but I was genuinely surprised, to sort of segue, that there was, a decent turnout at my show, because not only was it, Valentine's Day, which I found out that this wasn't a problem, but literally one street over, there was a Smokies show going on, and I've said this. Have I said this? Maybe I haven't said this, but anytime Smokies is playing in Jackson, the girlies are going to show up. And let me tell you, the girlies showed up for this one because Smokies literally sold out Urban Foxes on Valentine's Day. And I had to kind of step back and think about that because I can't tell you the last time that I've heard of a show like, and it has happened. It has happened, but it's very rare, I think, for a show to sell out like that here in Jackson. It's like, I'll say for a local DIY type show, because they have shows at Dueling Hall, and where's the other? Dueling Hall is really the only main venue because Thalia Mauer Hall is like condemned, so they're not having anything there anytime soon. But they have shows at Dueling Hall and stuff like that, and they might sell out. But the kind of music that I listen to, they're not performing at Dueling Hall. They're not. Although, they're not performing at Dueling Hall. Let me just say that much. And so I was like, that's insane that Smokies was able to sell out. And I mean, it wasn't just them performing. I can look. I know Heath Walt was also performing, but there is like another band that was there. That I'm struggling to remember who it was. And I'm just gonna, let me see. The Narrows, which is from Jackson, I believe. Actually, let me double check that. The Narrows. The Narrows. Oh, they're from Memphis, so never mind. So there was an out-of-town band coming. But also, I feel like the Neros has been here quite a few times. They come pretty often, and I have yet to see them, unfortunately. But I feel like they might be on the way again soon. But no, the Neros is from Memphis, or maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering. Anyways, the sold out show at Urban Foxes is like so crazy. The fact that they were able to sell a show out, like that's a good thing. You know, even though people who could have potentially been at my show was at another show, I don't really see that as a bad thing that another show got sold out, because that means people are showing up. That means people are showing up. They're going to shows. They're going to shows on holidays like Valentine's Day, and they have bands that they want to show up for. And Smokies is one of those bands that people here will want to show up for. And I've seen that happen time and time again. So, like, this isn't something that needs to be reminded to me, but it's really crazy. And I say crazy in that, you know, it's a sight to see. I'll say that much. You know, it's definitely a sight to see, because if I had to think of a band or artist from here in Jackson who's like selling out venues, and even though, you know, I don't know the capacity for Urban Foxes, but I would imagine it's probably not that big, because if you've ever been inside Urban Foxes, the actual performing area is like pretty small. It's like the size of a living room, potentially because it was somebody's living room at some point in time. But, you know, that's pretty major. And I wanted to give them their props for that, because that's like a big deal to be able to sell out a show anywhere, really. So that was that. I had a great time on Valentine's Day, even though this is my 25th Valentine's Day that I've spent on my Stony Lonesome. I don't think I would have wanted to spend it any other way, to be completely honest. So, you know, I had a great Valentine's Day, all things considered, and I felt confident about it all. As for my next show that I have booked, there is none because I don't. Okay, let me stop doing that into the mic. When I was starting out with all this booking stuff, I was supposed to just be doing local shows for like a while before I got the hang of it, and then I was supposed to branch out into like bringing bands from out of town here once I like got the feeling for it. But I was kind of thrown into the deep end. And you can thank Riggs for that, I guess. Thrown into the deep end with all of this, and it's like, I don't know, I feel like I did a lot there in like a short amount of time, and I kind of want to chill out a little bit. I don't really know how to describe it, but I will say this: there will not be a lack of shows in Jackson because I'm not booking them. That is not happening. I'll say that much. There's a lot going on. You know, our music scene is thriving, and it's got nothing to do with me or with anything I'm doing or not doing. So just keep that in mind. And that's good. You know, I'm glad we have a variety of people booking things, because that means we get a variety of acts coming to town, and a variety of shows and experiences that people get to have. And I think that's important. You know, although I would like to book more metal shows here, I don't know. Like I said in the last episode, it is kind of a lot for me. It's a lot for me. I don't know if I'm just like prone to being anxious, which some might call anxiety, but it's just a lot for me. That's all I can say. Like, I feel like I have a lot going on. You know, I sometimes feel like I have a lot going on, and I kind of want to just like stop. You know? That makes sense. I hope so. Anyway, that's that. Where am I? Okay. So, like I mentioned previously, I went to a show on Saturday, and it was this Mississippi Conspiracy Tour that was put on by the bands Bored to Tears, who are from Starkville, Smokies, who are from here in Jackson, and Defluo Cervus, which I tried to remind myself the way that it was pronounced like all last night, and I still kind of forgot, but I remembered. It's Defluo Cervus from Hattiesburg. And they pretty much did a circuit, I guess if you could call it that, of the sort of main three cities here in Jackson for DIY shows anyway, which is Starkville, Jackson, and Hattiesburg. I think no, it was Hattiesburg first, then Jackson last night, and then Starkville tonight, which, as far as I know, that show might be going on literally right now. So, that's fun. All of the three scenes getting together. Although I will say, well, I think the scene in Vicksburg skews a little bit older, so maybe not exactly, but those are like the main three. And I would say Vicksburg, maybe Vicksburg. No, I won't say that. I won't say that Vicksburg is an extension of Jackson, because it isn't. It's really its own thing. But like I said, the people involved in the scene there do skew a little bit older. Versus, there's a university in Hattiesburg, isn't there? I think so. Because where's Ole Miss? Ole Miss is in Starkville. And then, where's okay, hold on. Hattiesburg University. Southern Miss? Is that? Yeah. Southern Miss is in Hattiesburg, and then, what do you call it? Ole Miss, which, by the way, these names are so confusing to me because they all have Mississippi in them. You got Mississippi College, which is that's a Baptist university. And you have the University of Mississippi, which is Ole Miss. And then you have University of Southern Mississippi, which is Southern Miss. And it's like, y'all need to do something about this because there's too many Mississippis. Which, I mean, really, in Alabama, you have the University of Alabama, which is, the big A, and the elephants and the houndstooth. And then you have AUM. Wait, no, that's not it. What's the one with the bees or the hornets? That's AUM. That's the one that's in Birmingham. Or UAB. UAB, which is University of Alabama at Birmingham. So that's kind of confusing. And then you have the University of South Alabama, but that I feel like is different enough from the University of Alabama and the University of Alabama at Birmingham that there's some delineation there. But these Mississippi schools confuse the heck out of me, and it's a lot. Anyways, and also, of course, you have, three? I guess technically four, because you have Jackson State, which I guess that would be the main one, and, I guess technically Belhaven, and Millsaps, which, they're smaller, and they're also private Christian schools. And then you have the law school, University of something. It's the law school. I can't remember what it was. And you have that, but I'm trying to remember. It's probably, you have community colleges here, like you have Hines. But that's technically like out in the county. It's like closer to Pearl. It's not really in Jackson. And then I think there's like a community college in Raymond. And then there might be one in Ridgeland. There's a lot of universities, or I guess there's a lot of institutions of higher learning here. But I would say because of the fact that Starkville and Hattiesburg are college towns, their scenes do kind of tend to skew a little bit younger. And then Jackson is sort of a mix, I would say, in my opinion, from what I have seen. Like, you have some older people, or you have some younger people, and you have some old heads that are still around doing things. Then again, the old heads really aren't that old of heads. Their heads aren't that old, in my opinion. Which, I don't know. What constitutes an old head? Because this is a term that I've used a lot, and I don't know, I would say it's probably someone in their upper 30s, closing in on 40, maybe, who has participated in whatever for, at minimum, like 10 years, if that makes sense. I feel like that would be old head status. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, the show last night. So there's a Mississippi Conspiracy Circuit / tour, which I think they called it a tour. I don't like when this happens, but on the poster for the show, which is at the end of all music, there's only one time listed. It said 7 o'clock. I was like, okay, that's definitely door time, right? Because it didn't say, show 7. It just said 7. So I was like, okay, I don't want to get there like super early and just like be waiting around, because I kind of hate doing that. So like, yeah, I'll get there at like 7:25, 7:30, something like that. Because, I don't live very far from the venue, so it's only going to take me a couple minutes to drive there anyways. And so I get there, and, parking in that area by the end of all music is abysmal, but they have finally finished that parking garage that's like in the back of it. And so I'm driving down. I drive past the open door of the end of all music, and I can see and hear that they already started playing. So I'm like, God dang it, that was the show time. It wasn't the door time. And so I go park my car in the brand new garage, which, I mean, she's cute. It's a parking garage. I don't really know what I can say about it. They did build some like pathways back there that lead into like each of the businesses, which I thought that was nice. It's also really interesting because if you ever went outside of that door in the back patio of the end of all music, it did kind of used to just be like an open field. Now there's like this gigantic parking garage right there, and there's not a lot of space in between the parking garage itself and the back of like the strip of businesses. So I thought that was really interesting to see that, because I haven't been to the end of all music in a while, because usually, they have their shows outdoors, but since it's been so cold, they haven't, even though the one that was last night was indoors. But anyways, I get to the venue, and I'm halfway through Bored to Tears set, which they're really good. They're kind of, I would say, for the most, well, maybe not exactly. Bored to Tears, I would say, falls more in line with, like, maybe emo. I'm just going to use that as an umbrella term, because I don't know exactly. But I will say they're an emo band. Defluo Cervus is definitely an emo band. Like, I feel like they are a very straightforward, maybe Midwest-leaning emo band, which apparently there's a lot of discourse. Which, listen, being the metalhead that I am, I should already know that subgenre discourse is a thing, but I didn't think it was this intense with the other genres, because, I just never considered it. Also, there's like a whole thing with egg punk going on this week. I'm not going to get into that, but that was definitely confusing, but also kind of funny. So yes, I will describe Defluo Cervus as a more Midwest emo type of band. And I have a trinket. I have a tape. Ooh. I wanted to get a Bored to Tears tape because I saw that they were selling them, but they ran out. They ran out like right before I went up to the table to buy one, and I was like, God dang it. I really wanted to get one, but I have It's Off Your Shoulders, an extended play. That's an EP by Defluo Cervus. Yeah. Actually, I haven't looked. Oh! I haven't actually looked at the tape yet. Okay, tape unboxing. This is handmade. Oh, this is cute. So this is the front of the tape. And it says, "It's off your shoulders." Come on. This isn't gonna... I don't think it's gonna autofocus. Maybe it is. I can't tell. That's the front of the tape. It's really bright, but it's like blue, and it's clouds, and it's like grass, and it's really cute. And this is the A side, and the B side has like flowers on it, which again, you really can't see. It's overexposed. You're not going to be able to see it. But there's like yellow flowers on the back and like blue dots, and that's really cute. And then here's there's an insert in here, and it's a pronunciation guide. It's Defluo Cervus? Maybe. I heard people just pronouncing it as Defluo Cervus. I heard the band pronouncing it as Defluo Cervus. Defluo. This right here is saying that it's 2 syllables, but they're saying it like it was 3 syllables. Not to be the syllable police, but... So, defluo, to flow down, to drain off, to disappear, to be lost, to vanish. Cervus, deer? Stag, genus, of deer mostly native to Eurasia, such as the red-tailed deer. Only North American species in this genome are elk. We always call ourselves DC because Latin is dead and we don't know it. Okay, so it's like Latin words. Okay. And here's a little thing that says it's off your shoulders. This is exclusive content. Oh my gosh, you can't see it because it's white. Okay, hold on. This light is not that bright. I don't know why this is not able to be seen. But also, I don't have auto exposure turned on, so it's not going to adjust. But just know that it's on there. EP mixed by David and Pip, mastered by Hampton Martin. Defluo Cervus is Pip Taskett. I hope I'm saying that right. David Brandon, Bradley Broom, William Evans, and Patty Smith. And Surgeon General's warning: smoking causes lung cancer, heart disease, emphysema, may complicate pregnancy. Oh, there's like an illustration on the inside. Let me try. I'm going to attempt to show this. And it's probably not going to show very well because, again, it's overexposed. And then here's this on the inside. I think these are lyrics. Yes, these are lyrics. But this has been Xeroxed, and I'm not going to lie, I kind of can't read it. My eyesight is fine. It's just, photocopied. Well, this is cool. And again, there's more writing. But again, I kind of can't read this. Okay. There's actually quotes from the band members. This is cool. I'm going to read this. So this is, okay, we have more lyrics on this side. But we have a quote from David. The Hberg scene is sick. DIY is something... I genuinely can't read this. I'm sorry. Thank you for coming to our shows. Hosting us, streaming our songs, and buying this tape. Nothing beats hanging out with your friends and making music. You should try it. Thanks. From David. Next. Yo, thank you. Yes, you. Okay, this one's written slightly bigger, so I can't read it. So much for supporting us. This project has been so creatively fulfilling for all of us, and the fact that people actually bump our stuff, it's a swear word, I'm not going to say it, is the icing on the cake. Hattiesburg World, etc. From Big Booty Bradley. Okay. Next is thank you to everyone who has been supportive of us so far. I'm beyond grateful to have this opportunity to share our music with y'all. That's how you know it came from Mississippi. It says y'all. Which, by the way, people not from America and people not from the South saying y'all, chopped. Anyways, it's been an amazing journey. My heart belongs to Hattiesburg DIY. From Patty, parentheses, like the melt. Hello, and thank you for listening to our debut EP, Off Your Shoulders. The Hberg scene means so much to me, and I love you. I love y'all, again, another y'all, so much. I hope everyone cried a whole lot while listening. From William. And making this music with my friends. Okay, I think David just has bad handwriting. I'm not even gonna lie. Listen, from one bad handwriting person to another, it was difficult to read. But having bad handwriting is not a moral failing, so it's fine. Making this music with my friends and pour as much attention into it as we did has been one of my favorite experiences, and it's so cool knowing y'all, another y'all, listen to and enjoy it. I really appreciate y'all, and here's to many more shows and releases from Pip. And that is the insert to It's Off Your Shoulders by Defluo Cervus. And there's a J card in here, but I think that's just the insert. There's nothing on the other side. Sometimes we'll have stuff on the inside. And then there's this in here. I'm assuming, well, I don't know what this is. Okay, this is a Bandcamp redeem code that you can, I'm keeping that for myself. So that's that. That's fun. Let me put this back in here. Riveting content, by the way. Uh-oh, this is gonna fit. Oh no, this is gonna fit. Okay, yes, hold on, let me put it in the right way. By the way, if you're only watching listening to the, okay, this is the wrong way. If you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, you're only getting half the story. This isn't gonna close. Oh my god, hold on. Come on, get in. And also, I will say there was someone, and their name was Estelle, at the show last night who was making recordings of that show onto tapes, and I didn't get one, and I really should have. Dang it, why won't this go in here now? Come on. Oh wait, hold on. No? Okay, hold on, this is upside down. Come on, there we go. It's a little snug because of the insert. But yeah, that's this tape that I have. And also Defluo Cervus released a single on Spotify and other streaming services some time ago, and I wanted to get the name of the song right, because now why are you doing this? God, okay. It's called, oh wait, hold on. This EP is also on Spotify. But the name of the single that they put out in 2024, last October, on Halloween, is October Rain on My Window Pane, all one word. It's a good song. They played it last night, and I do quite like it. And you should stream Defluo Cervus. You should stream Bored to Tears too, but I don't know if they have anything available to stream. They had a tape. So they have recordings out there somewhere. Bored to Tears band. Yes, they have a Bandcamp. And they have, if it'll load, this is a self-titled EP. That's up for pre-order. And it will come out on April 1st, 2023. And yeah, they're from Starkville. Is there like a genre thingy on here somewhere? Nope. Hold on. What if I go here? Actually, I don't think that's not gonna help. Okay. Well, yeah, that was that. Smokies also played last night, and they of course did a great job, as they always do. And also before how is it already almost been an hour? Good God. Okay. Before I talk about Smokies, as Defluo Cervus was playing, I was kind of hit with a wave of emotion because, I don't know if it was because it was the fact that emo music was playing at the time that caused me to feel emo. Like, whoa, it did the job it was supposed to do. Big shocker. But I was kind of looking around at the crowd, and this is definitely a crowd that's skewed a little bit younger. I will say that, younger than me. And I was just kind of, observing things, and it's like, I didn't have anything like that when I was, their age, which I'll be charitable and say that at maximum they were maybe like 22. Which, to be fair, let me see. I mean, I did sort of start going to shows when I was 22, but I was traveling to go these places. But, when I was in college, let's say, and younger than that, in high school, I didn't really have that music community to like partake in. And I know in college there was that kind of stuff happening here. I just didn't know about it. And also keep in mind, for the first 2 years that I was in college, I straight up didn't have a car. So like even if I wanted to, like, I couldn't really, because it's not like I knew anybody else. It's not like I knew anybody else who was like into that kind of stuff. I've talked about and written about this kind of ad nauseum, but I will continue to talk and write about it. But, being interested in this kind of music and, this kind of, I don't know, subculture, I guess, has been a very isolating experience for me. And I truly did not know anyone else who, one, even knew about this kind of stuff or cared about it growing up. It's only ever been met with derision, I guess, because of, the kind of music that I was into. And again, I've written about this and talked about it a lot, I feel like, but I don't care. I'm going to keep talking about it. And I remember when I was interviewing Lacey a couple episodes ago, which this would be episode 39 or 38, I can't remember. The episode of the podcast where I interviewed Lacey. And I can't remember if it was during or before. I think it was during the pod. So you can actually, go back and listen to this part. But she asked me, like, oh, what kind of shows were you going to growing up? And I was like, none. I didn't have this. There was nothing like this growing up. And I know, obviously, it existed. Like, my teen years were, like, right on the tail end of, like, Warped Tour stuff. And she even asked me about Warped Tour. And I told her, like, in the high point, like, the peak of Warped Tour, which would have been, like, 2008, 2009, maybe 2010, I was in elementary school. And I didn't even know about it at the time, and there's no way that either of my parents were going to take me into something like that, because that would involve traveling a prolonged distance, to take their elementary to middle school age daughter to a music festival. Like, that wasn't going to happen. It's kind of pulling teeth to get my mom to take me to that, the first concert that I went to, Panic at the Disco, because originally I wanted to see Bring Me the Horizon, but that was going to be in Atlanta, and my mom didn't want to drive that far, so we compromised on Birmingham, and it was just so happened that Panic at the Disco would be performing there. But anyways, all that to say is that, seeing all these kids, because, they were quite young, experiencing this, with their friends, with other people. And it's like, man, like, I didn't have that. And it's like, now I'm kind of like making up for lost time almost, that I didn't get to experience this, that now I am finally experiencing this. And it did make me feel kind of emo. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I felt kind of sad about it. Like, dang, like, I could have. Well, realistically, at their age, I could not have. Like, let's be honest. There were no DIY shows happening in Selma, Alabama in the mid to late 2010s. Like, that is simply the fact of the matter. Like, was it going on in other places in Alabama? Like, sure. Like, yeah, definitely Birmingham. Maybe Montgomery? Probably not. I've heard of literally nothing coming out of Montgomery, but that doesn't mean there's not stuff going on in Montgomery. I do know that most of that does seem to, like, the DIY scene does seem to be centered in, like, northern, and, well, no, because Montgomery is, like, central Alabama, but, like, northern Alabama, like Birmingham, Huntsville, Tallahassee, question mark, because again, not Tallahassee, Jesus Christ. Where, Tuscaloosa, oh my gosh, Tuscaloosa area. It's like that little triangle. I know there was a lot more stuff going on up there, but that was very many hours from where I was. So it's like, I wasn't sneaking out of my house, taking my parents' car to drive nearly 2 hours in the middle of the night to go to a DIY show in Birmingham. Like, that wasn't something that was happening for me. So, it's crazy that I'm only just now experiencing all this. And it feels like I'm kind of almost trying to make up for lost time. And so I don't know what to do with those emotions. So I guess I'll just leave it at that. But at the end of the night, the closer was, of course, Smokies. And like I said, they put on a really great show. And I ended up talking to Jacob at the end of the night. And he told me that they had never been interviewed before, which I thought was really interesting. I thought they would have at least had, like, one interview out there somewhere. And I'll leave that there. I will leave that there. So I will leave that right there. But that was last night. Last night was a little fun. It was very fun. It was a lot of fun. And I got to try out the new, brand spanking new, concrete just dried on it, parking garage. And that was nice. And there are some other Gigianas that are coming up, and I shall bring up my calendar to mention them. Next Saturday in Vicksburg, we have, where am I? Is this today? Oh, this is in April. Wait, this is in 2024. Let me go back to present day. Plague Burner, Downhill, Exorcism, and Placeholder. I have learned that it was not a placeholder on the graphic. There is a band called Placeholder. They will be at this show. next Saturday in Vicksburg at the Watermark, which I think is a newer venue. Not that it's new. I don't know if the venue itself is new or if they have just started letting shows of this type be played there. Um, so yeah, that will be a lot of fun. And then after that, there will be Zilla, Plague Burner, and Face Rot, which Face Rot is a new band from Jackson. And I believe this will be their first show. Yeah, this will be their first show. I apparently have been following them for a little while, but they haven't, or maybe, have I? Maybe I have. Yes, I think I have. Because anytime, like, a new, like, band Instagram account gets made, it gets recommended to me through the algorithm. And so I try to, follow to see what the deal is, like, what's going on. And so, I've been following Face Rot for a while, and this will be their first show. That's going to be March 8th. And then after that, what is this? Okay, that's not it. That'll be the last, it's not the last show for a while. There's going to be a lot of other shows that pop up, but those are two more recent ones that I'm looking forward to, definitely. But we got the drop of the year, I think, earlier this week, because May 9th, Sludge Legends. Doom. Okay, I think they're a Doom band. Hold on. I had to do some research because I didn't really know who they were, but I felt like it was a big deal, and it is a big deal after I've done my research. But Doom Metal Legends from New Orleans, Louisiana. Really weird way to say that. I Hate God is coming to Jackson May 9th. And I went and got my ticket real quick, fast, and ow. I'm chomping down on my gums. It hurts a lot when I talk sometimes. Ow. But I went and got my ticket real quick, fast, and in a hurry for that one because I did not want to miss out on that. And I am going to find that poster so I can tell you who's going to be there. Let me see. Here we go. We have I Hate God from New Orleans. False Gods, who I saw a couple weeks ago. They're going to be, well, okay, that's not that soon, actually. May, we got like 3 months until the show, so it's not that soon. But False Gods from New York / maybe Mississippi, but definitely from New York. They're coming back, and I'm excited about that one because I have been streaming the album Neurotopia like nonstop for like 2 weeks. It's crazy. It's been the only thing that I've been listening to at work. And the album honestly bangs. Like I want to talk about this. This isn't on the list, but I want to talk about it. The album Neurotopia by False Gods is so good. Like it's very doomy, and I like that about it. But it's a good album. But not only that, it's doom, but there are some like really amazing like guitar solos on a few of these songs, particularly the final song on the album, In Contrast of Sin. I've been listening to that one the most because you have the main part of the song and you have the kind of long prolonged outro, which is just this almost mournful, like pleading guitar solo. And I know those two words aren't usually words that you associate with guitar solos, perhaps, but just listen to the song, get to the guitar solo, and tell me what you think, because I think if you listen to it, you will find it to be mournful and sorrowful and pleading and just, I don't know. Those are the words that I associate with that guitar solo in particular. But there's also other songs on the album that have pretty great guitar solos on it. And it's a great album. And I can't wait to see them hopefully perform some of it live because they're a great band. And I always enjoy seeing them, even though I've only seen them twice. But in the 2 times that I've seen them, I have greatly enjoyed it. So, yes. And you have Beneath the Kudzu, who is from Vicksburg. Legendary lineup, I think. And then you have Heavy Yeti. And I talked about this a little bit when I talked about Kicking's Farewell for Now show. Heavy Yeti was a band that existed, which I guess technically it still exists, but it existed. It was more active, I want to say, in the 2010s. or maybe in like the very early 2010s, so like the year 2010. But I had found this YouTube page, this YouTube channel called Jackson MS Shows or something like that, and I found a number of Heavy Yeti performances, or I think it was maybe the same performance, but each of the songs are like one separate video. Um, and so I guess they've just like come out of retirement now, because they did the Kicking Farewell for Now show because, you know, the two bands had a connection. But now they're doing this one, and I don't know if it's gonna be like the original lineup. If I don't know, I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure because the people who were in that band previously that I recognized from the videos, they're still around. I'm like pretty sure. At least 3 of them are. The other 1 or 2, I'm not really sure, but I don't know if they're going to be in the lineup from the Kicking Farewell for Now show or like more close to their original lineup or what, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. But this show is May 9th at Howlin' Mal's in the Red Room. It's gonna be great. I have a feeling. And so I'm greatly looking forward to that. That's gonna be a lot of fun. And what can I say? Metal is back. Metal is back. I feel like I was in a drought there for a while, but now it's come back. Metal is back. Metal is back. Yes. So that's gonna be fun. What else is on my list? Well, that was the end of the music-related shows, or music-related topics, rather, that I had. I'm trying to remember. I don't think there's anything else. Well, this one's more minor, but this Friday most recent, there was a cover of The Kill by 30 Seconds to Mars that came out, and it just got me thinking, like, I don't know, I feel like 30 Seconds to Mars could have been more legendary than they ended up being, because that album, which is, I forgot the name of the album, but the album that The Kill is on, which I will find, it is A Beautiful Life, came out 2005, that was like a pretty decent, you know, for its time album. And if they just kind of continued in that direction, like especially going into, let's say, I don't know, the late 2010s era kind of metalcore, if they could have like gone into that, then they would have been legendary. But also something that, you know, I didn't know at the time, but I've since learned, I mean, obviously, but weirdly, I knew Jared Leto from 30 Seconds to Mars before I knew he had like a whole acting career. Like, I did not know anything about his acting career. I was like, oh, the guy from 30 Seconds to Mars is an actor? That's so cool. And not, you know, the guy from, oh my gosh, what's the name of that freaking movie? The guy from that movie about the drugs does music. Like, oh, you know, I had it the other way around. But, you know, I guess Jared Leto is just focusing on being a mid-level. I don't want to call him mid because some of his earlier stuff is decent, I will say. But I don't know. I feel like he lost the plot somewhere. I don't know where the plot was lost, but it was lost somewhere up in there. And I feel like his later acting career has just been kind of lackluster. Even though that, like, he could have been like a legendary actor and like something went wrong. I don't know what went wrong. I don't know. I don't know if it was the underage girls that went wrong, but something along the line went wrong. Like, Jared Leto could have been like a great musician and a great actor, but something in there was just like, I don't know, somebody poked his voodoo doll a few too many times and things just went left. Like, everything just went left for him. And I don't know, it could be the consequences of his own actions for that one. But also, you know, I don't know. I just feel like 30 Seconds to Mars could have had like a way better run than they did. And weirdly, I like, what was that other album? Let me see. I gotta look him up again. What is the name of this album? Let me see. I have to find it. Was that not an album? Hold on. Maybe not. No, that had to be an album. What? Okay, well, okay, okay. Maybe not. Hold on. Or maybe there's just like a single or something. Am I tweaking? I feel like they had an album where the album art was like a tiger. And I can't find it on Spotify. I don't see it. Am I? Hold on. Singles and EPs. That's not it. I don't see it anywhere. Oh, well, okay. It was. Okay. I don't know. They had. I don't know. Maybe I am tweaking. I don't know. Anyways, all that to say, all that incomprehensibility to say is that I feel like 30 Seconds to Mars could have had a better run, and Jared Leto could have also had a better run as an actor, but something went wrong along the way, and I don't know what it was. Is he a Scientologist? I don't think so, because I feel like if he was, he would be a lot more successful with music anyway. What? I mean, he won like an Oscar for. Did he win an Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club, or am I misremembering? I don't know. I just feel like something went wrong along the way with Jared Leto, and the things that we could have gotten, we just didn't get. And I don't know how else to frame that. Anyway, so as I was doing my hair last Saturday, because as you can see, it's in twist now. We have the purple headphones back, so my hair is no longer out. As I was doing my hair last Saturday, I decided to watch The Substance to finally see what all the hoopla was about it. And, you know, I don't know how I feel about The Substance. I mean, it's been a couple weeks now that I have seen it. So, like, not a couple weeks, it's been 1 week since I've seen it. And, well, okay, right off the top, I think this movie is like 30 minutes longer than it should be. Because, like, it's 2.5 hours long or something like that. And I feel like there's 30 seconds, there's 30 minutes of content in there that you could have pulled out and nothing would be lost. And I just feel like it's about 30 minutes too long, like a half hour too long, which is crazy for a movie. Because that's a lot of time, you know? That's a lot of time for things to, like, drag on for. So it's like, you know, I mean, okay, so as for the overall, I guess, message of the movie, this has been the second movie that I've seen so far this year that deals with women aging out of the entertainment industry. And the first one would have been The Last Showgirl with Pam Anderson, the legend Pam Anderson. And I feel like the message in that one was a lot more straightforward. You know, there wasn't a lot of, you know, there wasn't any surrealism in there. So already the delivery of the message is a little bit different. And I like The Last Showgirl. You know, some people, I think for the most part, people didn't really like the cinematography. And I will say, for like the first maybe like 15 minutes, it felt a little claustrophobic, but after that, I like got used to it. And then they like finally backed off the camera a little bit. But, you know, that one kind of deals with Pam Anderson being, you know, the last of the original Vegas showgirls on the strip, and now they're closing her show, and now there's going to be no more showgirl shows on the Vegas Strip. And so, you know, that, I like that. I thought, you know, I liked it. What else can I say? I liked it. And then you have The Substance, which I guess spoilers for The Substance coming up, so just be aware of that. But also this movie came out months ago, and if you haven't seen it by now, you probably aren't. So, I don't know. But yeah, spoilers for The Substance. It is about not Courtney Cox that I confused her for, which I don't know how I did that because they don't look alike at all. I mean, they both have dark hair, but it's not Courtney Cox. Also, I learned that Courtney Cox is from Birmingham, so she's an Alabamian, and I can claim her. She was my next door neighbor, actually, growing up. I don't know if you know that, but anyways. Demi Moore. Demi Moore plays Elizabeth Sparkle, and she is I guess, like a fitness person. I mean, she does like the fitness home videos, kind of like Jane Fonda. But Jane Fonda was doing other things before she did like the fitness videos. So like I'm assuming that was the case for Elizabeth Sparkle as well, maybe. But it starts with her star on the Walk of Fame, and she's on and popping for a while, and then eventually her star fades, not literally, but metaphorically. Um, which I guess that is what that metaphor meant in the beginning. Okay. Her star kind of fades, and now she's doing these workout videos, and now her not great boss, played by, oh my gosh, what's his name? Dennis Quaid? Randy Quaid? One of the Quaidses plays her boss, and he's like just this brute of a man. He's like, oh, she's too old. We gotta get somebody younger. And instead of like, I don't know, kind of leaning into which I mean, this kind of happened in The Last Showgirl as well, but the circumstances are a little bit different. Instead of just kind of leaning into her, I guess, the fact that she's like aged out of what she was doing, because I don't want to like backseat, I don't even know, armchair quarterback this lady's career. But if it was me, then I'd be like, okay, if you think I've aged out of this, I want to be executive producer for the show. I want to be the one who chooses, who gets to replace me, and I still want to have decent creative control over all of this. But I guess she didn't have that leveraging power to be able to do that. So it's like, okay, well, they're just gonna have to replace me. And then she finds the titular substance, which is like highlighter fluid that you inject, and it makes a whole different version of you, but you're like younger and like hotter and, more beautiful and young. But the whole thing about it is that you get to spend 7 days. I don't know why I was going to say 15 hours. I don't know where that came from. You get to spend 7 days as your young, hot self, but then you have to like switch bodies and be old for 7 days. And that's the deal. You have to switch every 7 days. But, eventually, Demi Moore, Elizabeth Sparkle, is her young, hot self, and she gets the job to essentially replace herself, and now she's Sue. And so, they kind of revamped the show for a new audience. And it's honestly kind of weird because the way that they made it before, which I know there's a lot of high surrealism in this movie, and a lot of my belief has to be suspended. So, like, already I know I'm probably thinking too much about this. But, so Elizabeth Sparkle's workout program, which is apparently being televised, was it was like a traditional workout stuff that you'd see on the tapes and the CDs. It would be like that. But for whatever reason, the new version, and I get why they do this, it's just to kind of show, the allure of having a young, hot body, I guess. But it's a lot of close-ups. It's a lot of close-ups. It's a lot of oil. It's a lot of slow-mo. Which I don't know how you can work out to that, but I get why they did it. But now that I'm saying it, it's like, okay, maybe they aren't trying to show it in like a representative way, so like duh. But anyways, they do all that, and eventually, of course, it's technically you are, I guess, the same person when you take the substance, but also I think maybe some of your consciousness has like fractured a little bit, like your ego in the Freudian sense, I guess, or the Jungian sense, or whoever it was that did the ego and super ego. It's been a while since I've taken a psychology class. It's been a while since I've taken one of those, so I kind of forgot. But ego in the sense of, the classical sense has perhaps split off, and now you're like literally two different people. So you really don't have control over what your young self does or what your old self does, because they're basically two different people. And so the younger version, I guess, is like having a lot of fun being young and hot. And so she keeps stealing time essentially from her older self. And basically they have to like inject spinal fluid to like stabilize themselves. And again, suspending a lot of my disbelief, so I'm not really thinking too hard about the science of it all, but they're having to inject spinal fluid, and eventually, you know, Sue is stealing too much time, and Elizabeth Sparkle is like shriveled up like a freaking Capri Sun that got everything sucked out of it. But, she has to go back. And so now she's like old and decrepit because, her young version keeps stealing too much time from her. And, that happens. And then I feel like after that is when things start to get kind of weird. The plot gets lost, I think, because, after that, there's a moment where, Elizabeth Sparkle is all shriveled up and she's like, I gotta stop this because, I was old before, but now I'm really old, I guess. And so she tries to stop, but I guess Sue takes over. Okay, it's been a couple weeks since I've seen this, so I have forgotten some details, but there comes a point where basically Sue is like, I don't want to, I want to be the main person at the front. I have this whole career now, and now I'm about to do the New Year's show, and like this is a big thing for my career, and I want to be, I want to be at the forefront. And so basically her younger self kills her older self, but now she can't, like, there's no one to steal spinal fluid from, so it's like, okay, I guess I have to inject the substance again. And so she finds some of the leftover and injects herself, but instead of, I don't know what would come from that, an infant emerging from her back. It's like this grotesque version. And yeah, I feel like towards the end the plot is like lost a little bit because I liked where it was going for a little while, but then I was like, I'm not super into this. And so I gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd. So that was how I was feeling about it. Maybe I was gonna say maybe I'll revisit it, but no, I won't. No, I won't. No, I will not. But yeah, that was a very disjointed, very disjointed review of The Substance. I think if I were to compare these two movies about, what it is like to be a woman aging out of an image focused industry, I think I like The Last Showgirl a little bit more. I think, because I don't know. It's not that I don't like surrealism, by the way. Let's not say that. Because I can enjoy a little bit of surrealism in my media. But, like, I just don't like the way The Substance went. I don't know. It's not even necessarily the ending. It's just, again, it was like 30 minutes too long. I feel like it could have been condensed. And I don't know. If I were to script doctor it, I would cut out 30 minutes, obviously. And I would probably still keep the grotesque monster in there. But, I just feel like 30 minutes could have been taken out. That is all. So yeah, that is that. And I've been talking for far too long, and you will notice that I'm not in a hurry because my battery is dying, because I've had this for a while, but I just don't use it. But I have like an AC adapter for my camera. So basically it's plugged into the wall, so the battery's not going to run out because it's not running on battery. And I probably should use it a little bit more often when I'm doing the pod, and then I won't have to take a break in the middle because the freaking battery died. So yeah, that is all I have for today. So this has been the 42nd, I think, episode, yes, episode of the Runnin My Mouth podcast. I have been your host, Erin. Thank you for allowing me to run my mouth. I don't use Twitter anymore, so I guess follow me on Instagram? Because if you aren't following me on Instagram, which a large portion of you probably are, but if you aren't following me on Instagram, you're only getting half the story. And also, I know usually every time I say that, I have to, like, remind myself, like, oh, Drag Race, but I legit have not been watching this season at all. I don't know anything that's going on. And I don't know why, but I just can't get into this season of Drag Race. And maybe I'll end up binging it, but also probably not. But yeah, I do want to catch up at some point. I don't know. Maybe I just fell off for some reason. But yeah, that'll be it for me for now. I don't know if you can tell, but it's raining. And I hope it won't continue raining into yesterday because that's too much rain. Also, it's been very cold lately. Okay, it's not supposed to rain tomorrow. Thank goodness. Also, I think this is probably the last really cold week of the year, which I don't know how I feel about that because now it's about to get hot. And we all know how I feel about the heat. So I guess I have to savor it. Anywho, that's enough for me.